Okay, now we're going to look at the biosphere. This is the area where all life is found. This giant facility here was a big attempt to make an artificial biosphere. They called it Biosphere 2, and they were going to lock in 8 astronauts or bionauts for a year and see if they could live off the oxygen and the food produced by the plants in their giant billion-dollar facility. It was heavily criticized by scientists at the time, and it was utter failure. Within a few months, they were sneaking in food and they were sneaking in oxygen and having to deal with high CO2. They nearly starved to death and they nearly suffocated by a single year. So it turns out it may seem simple to just grow plants to make oxygen and food, but in reality, when we tried to do it in a sealed environment, it didn't work. The biosphere is divided into two broad characteristics of life: producers or autotrophs, which make their own food using sunlight. The term autotroph means self-feeder. It's not testable in grade 9. Consumers are the ones that eat something else, like cows and people. And they are called heterotroph, which means they feed on others. Except for very rare circumstances at the bottom of the ocean, photosynthesis powers every food web on the planet. If it wasn't for the plants making the first range of food stuff, we would have nothing to eat on Earth but dirt. Now, the plants do this through a process called photosynthesis. And you know photosynthesis from grade school, that plants breathe in carbon dioxide and they breathe out oxygen. But what you probably didn't know is they also take the carbon dioxide and the water and the sunlight and they build sugars with it. Now, sugars are a category called carbohydrate. A simple hot carbohydrate would be a sugar, like glucose and sucrose. Complex carbohydrate is like a starch that you would find in, say, potatoes. So the term carbohydrate covers them all. So the part that you haven't learned is that plants store solar energy in terms of the body of the plant itself, the stems, the leaves, the fruits. Now, this doesn't seem very cool on its own, but let's really get our imagination going as to what this is. This is photosynthesis. And this is the kind of thing I want you to understand, what the magic behind science. It would be cool to see this flower growing out in this plain. But from the view of a scientist mind, you're seeing this equation in real life. That distant sun and this mud, the DNA molecule in that plant, rearranged the mud and the sunlight to build itself. This flower came out of that mud. And any fruit this flower produces, any honey, is mud. Dig your hands around in that mud, find me the flower, find me the honey, find me the strawberry. It's pretty amazing what photosynthesis accomplishes. And this is the kind of thing I'd like you to see. If it wasn't for these plants doing this, we would die. They are building apples and peaches and pears out of mud for us. That is really awesome. These are the 3 images I want you to picture when we talk about what these carbohydrates look like. My favorite is the strawberry. This is a solar battery of sugar. It's sunlight turned into an energy packet. This is the same sunlight turned into a potato. When you eat the potato, it will turn into sugar in your stomach, just like it was a strawberry. The difference takes a couple hours. Cellulose will also turn into sugar if you want it to, but humans in general don't make a digestive enzyme to eat wood. There's a few people that do, and they tend to have weight problems in our world, but basically a goat could eat wood and it will turn to sugar in its stomach. All 3 of these not only can provide food energy for animals, but we can set fire to them and re-release the energy. So when you burn a campfire, you are releasing the sunlight that was stored decades ago in that wood. So I want you to really picture a strawberry every time you draw photosynthesis. So sunlight and mud made these things. So a strawberry plant or a potato plant are your best starting points for photosynthesis, because when you draw a red strawberry, you won't forget to say stored energy. Now, how do the plants pull this off? Okay, I'm going to stop this video here because I'm going to run out of time. And then I will do the next part, which is how the plants do it and what we do with the stored energy.